Gabby Petito. Gabby freaking Petito, man. This case has somehow taken over the media cycle like no other. Like no other. I was literally looking for news today. I was like, all right. Or not today, but like for the show, I was like, all right, like let's see what the relevant news topics are. 7 articles. Gabby Petito, Gabby Petito, Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito. That's all I've been hearing for the last few years or for the few weeks is this case. And so I was like, all right, we have to talk about Gabby Petito because it's relevant and it's trending. So let's do it. So what are the facts? Who the hell is Gabby Petito? There's probably a few people here who are like, is she some famous actress I never heard about? No. Okay, let's get it straight. Okay. Basically, Gabby Petito is a normal human being. She's like me. She's like you. She's like your teacher. She's just a normal human. She's 22, so she's a couple years older than I am. All right, I'm 20. So she's 22. She's already engaged, and her fiance decide one day, let's go on a cross-country road trip across the country. A lot of 20-somethings do this, right? A lot of 20-somethings go on road trips to find themselves in soul search and try to be like fucking, nomad land and be, live their lives. Okay, that's what they want to do. She wanted to go on a 4-month long cross-country road trip. I support it. I was, I didn't know Gabby Petito, but if she told me that and we were homies, I'd be like, go for it. Okay, so she went on this 4-month long road trip with her fiance. But then things take a turn. This is where things become interesting. No. So in August, so middle of August, August 12th to be exact, her and her fiance are traveling through Utah. Specifically like Zion National Park. So basically the goal of their road trip was to hit as many national parks as possible. And so they hit Zion National Park as one of those national parks. And so they were in Zion, and apparently there was a couple people who were driving past their car. It was parked off to the side, and the couple was arguing, and basically 911 ended up being called by someone who reported that there was slapping and hitting and stuff going on. So the police come. They basically check out what's going on. Of course, they're nice because these people are white. And I watched the whole body cam footage for you guys to report back to show you guys what the information was. I watched an hour and 24 minutes of this body cam footage, man. It was very dry. If you ever try to watch police body cam footage, it is not interesting. Particularly when it's white people. When it's other people, yeah, I mean, it's a whole separate, that's an issue we should talk about on a Changavi report. But that's not what we're here to do. We're here to talk about Gabby Petito. So anyway, there's this whole, hour and a confrontation, and basically the policemen think about charging her with domestic violence because there's evidence that she slapped her fiance or whatever. And then they decide eventually, like, oh no, like, it wasn't anything too serious. So they decide to separate the both of them for the night. That is the last encounter that the couple had with law enforcement. So then fast forward a couple weeks, and Gabby Petito sends, and she'd been in pretty constant contact with her family. She was an influencer, so she was like making content for the whole trip. She was posting on her IG, her Twitter, whatever, TikTok. She had a YouTube channel. She was just kind of living that classic 20-year-old travel vlogger life, right? Living in the van, driving around the country, classic. So then a few weeks later, her family receives the last text from her, which basically, and I'm missing out on a lot of little details. I'm not here to explain all the facts, but here are like the main ones. So her family, or her mom, I think, or some family member receives the last text from her, and it basically says, in Yosemite, no cell service. So this kind of susses out the family members a little bit. This is August 28th. And they're like, well, they weren't supposed to go to Yosemite. Brian and Gabby were not. Brian is her fiance's name. They weren't supposed to go to Yosemite. Like, that was not part of the plan. They were supposed to come back. So fast forward a couple days, and Brian ends up in Florida on September 1st, I believe, back at his parents' house. And he's there without Gabby. And he basically pulls up to the house, and the family tries to contact him and his family. They don't respond. Brian practically goes on the run a few days after that, and basically there's a whole nationwide manhunt for him. We have not been able to find Brian. There's a whole arrest warrant out for him, all of that. So you must be thinking, like, where the hell is Gabby? Where the hell is Gabby? And that was what the nation was worried about for 2 weeks. Unfortunately, though, they did find Gabby, except now she's dead. And they found her in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. So Clearly, there's some missing pieces here. But those are the facts that I have consensusly found. There's a lot of rumors flying around from friends being like, oh, Brian this, Brian that. And I don't want to like spread rumors. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to spread the facts. These are mostly the consensus facts that have been presented by many reports. Based on the body cam footage, I have my own speculations as to what happened, but we'll leave that for the next topic, which I'll get into.